Hello students and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Vageshwari, teaching at Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. Today, the module that we will be discussing is Honor Killings. This module is a part of the paper on Women and the Law for the discipline Women's Studies. The learning objectives of this module are to make the readers aware of the horrific crime of honor killings, to spread awareness regarding illegality of such acts, and to impart knowledge of important legislative provisions prohibiting killings in the name of honor. The term honor killing literally means killing for honor. The usage of the term honor has a tendency to rationalize and legitimize the motive of the crime by creating a false notion that the crime has been committed to save the honor of the family. In the case of Lata Singh versus State of UP, decided by the Supreme Court in the year 2006, the Honorable Supreme Court stated that there is nothing honorable in honor killings and they are wholly illegal. Thus, the usage of the term honor along with killings is a misnomer and misleading. Although the term honor killings is gender neutral, the act of honor killings are not. There is a marked gender bias. Every year, thousands of women across the world are branded witches, paraded naked, shot, burnt, poisoned, beheaded, stabbed, publicly shamed or tortured, or subjected to death in some other way in the name of honor. In our tradition-bound society, women have always been subjected to social, economic, physical, psychological, as well as sexual exploitation. In fact, the institutions of family and marriage, where she is considered to be safe, have become the major cause of her oppression. A woman, in all her roles, whether as a mother, a daughter, a sister, or a wife, she is always supposed to be subservient to men. A woman's honor is related to her conformity with the traditional roles ascribed to her. And any attempt to break from these circumscriptions is considered a dishonorable act. Such a loss of honor is deemed irreversible and is to be restored by punishing the rebel with death. Conceptions of family honor endorse honor killings. Whenever a woman indulges in acts perceived as dishonorable, such as marrying against the family wishes, marrying someone from the lower caste, eloping with someone, becoming victim of a stigmatized offense such as rape, molestations, or sexual harassment, refusing arranged marriage, asking for divorce, having premarital or extramarital relationships, adultery, etc., she always has to pay for it with her life. The community also plays a very important role in traditional honor killings. Ultimately, it is the community which decides what acts are honorable or dishonorable. The killings are highly unlikely unless the transgression becomes known in the community. It is shocking how caste and other prejudices continue to dictate social life and individual choices even in the 21st century. Now, let us understand the reasons behind honor killings. First is religion and caste system. Every religion, every caste has its own peculiar notions and practices. Different religions have different sets of personal laws which regulate them in affairs of marriage, divorce, maintenance, adoption, guardianship, succession, and inheritance. In India, the caste system is very rigid. And despite our 65 years of independence and several constitutional as well as legislative measures, discrimination on caste basis continues. Caste remains one of the most important factors governing the lives of people, especially in rural areas. And intercaste marriages are looked down upon with contempt and disgust. Thus, if any girl dares choose a partner from a different caste or religion or within the prohibited gotras, she is considered to have dishonored the family. The family members, fearing expulsion from the caste or social boycott, are forced to punish the girl in order to restore the family honor. As repositories of community honor, women are subjected to brutal killings as a punishment and as a deterrent example for other girls. Second, warped notions of traditions. Since childhood, girls are subjected to restrictions in matters of dressing, movement, and behavior. All this is done to inculcate in them a sense of subservience to the other gender and submit to male dominance. It is a common experience that if the sister or daughter commits something unusual and socially unacceptable, such as having a love affair or eloping with a boy of her choice, the society holds the father or brother responsible for not reining in the girl and allowing such a social wrong to occur. Such men, caught in a social warp, feel the pressure of being the upholders or custodians of traditions. And the feeling is that the dishonor once brought upon the family cannot be undone unless the source of dishonor is destroyed, which means killing of one's own sister or daughter and sometimes the boy with whom she was involved. Property issues are another major cause of honor killings. Nowadays, people want their daughters to be educated and independent, yet submit to male dominance within the familial sphere. Educated women have acquired more mobility in the society. This allows them to meet and interact with more men with whom they sometimes strike a friendship. When an educated and liberated female, driven by a newfound confidence and ambition, chooses her partner in defiance of the social norms, she is giving a subtle yet a clear message that she has an equal status in the society and has autonomy over her body and life. This declaration of independence is perceived as a potential threat that she may either herself or with support from her partner seek an equal share in the family's property which the law entitles her to, but which she is rarely accorded. Even after the 2005 amendments in the Hindu Succession Act, giving equal share to girls in the ancestral property, women seldom stake a claim to their share. Traditionally, when marriage takes place within an intimate circle, property rights are usually foregone. The lurking threat that the woman may stake a claim to the property is aggravated especially among poor, uneducated youth who are over-dependent on land. Now let us try to understand the relationship between honor killings and khap panchayats. The term khap refers to a socio-political group. Khap panchayats are nothing but informal institutions for conflict resolution engaged in dispensing social justice based on customary practices and old traditions. In recent years, Khap panchayats, known as Katha panchayats in Tamil Nadu, often decree or encourage honor killings or other atrocities in an institutionalized way on boys and girls of different castes and religion who wish to get married or who have been married or interfere with the personal lives of people. Now, this is wholly illegal and has to be ruthlessly stamped out. Atrocities in respect of personal lives of people committed by brutal, feudal-minded persons deserve harsh punishment. Moreover, these acts take the law into their own hands and amount to kangaroo courts, which are wholly illegal. In Arumugam Sirvai versus State of Tamil Nadu, decided by the Honorable Supreme Court in the year 2011, the court issued directions to the administrative and police officials to take strong measures to prevent such atrocious acts. The court said that in the event of such an incident taking place, the state should immediately institute criminal proceedings against those responsible for such atrocities and also suspend the district magistrate, collector, police superintendent and the senior superintendent of police of the district as well as other officials concerned and charge sheet them and proceed against them departmentally if they are proven to have not taken appropriate steps to prevent the incident. In such cases, the concerned officials would be presumed to be directly or indirectly accountable in this connection. The court directed that copies of this judgment shall be sent to all chief secretaries, home secretaries and director generals of police in all the states and union territories of India, along with the direction that it should be circulated to all officers up to the level of district magistrate and superintendent of police for strict compliance. Now let us see what the law has to say about honor killings. First of all, we'll see the international commitments. See, honor killings are nothing but culpable homicides and murders. They go against the spirit of Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. The Beijing Platform for Action on Women's Human Rights 1995 calls upon states to take urgent action to combat and eliminate violence against women, which is a human rights violation resulting from harmful traditional or customary practices, cultural prejudices and extremism. It reiterates that human rights of women include their right to have control over and decide freely and responsibly on matters relating to their sexuality, including sexual and reproductive health, free of coercion, discrimination and violence. The UN commitment towards elimination of violence against women and honor killings in particular are evident from the Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women and working towards the elimination of crimes against women committed in the name of honor. Post the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action and the Convention for Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, the United Nations has, as a part of its reform agenda, created UN Women in 2010. This is the UN entity for gender equality and the empowerment of women. This body is an initiative to help member states and support the intergovernmental bodies such as Women's Commission to fulfill the commitment on gender equality. India, being a signatory to the United Nations Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, commonly referred to as CEDAW, is bound to give effect to its provisions and take steps for eradication of all discriminatory practices such as honor killings against women. Now, what does the domestic law have to say about it? First of all, the constitutional provisions. Honor killings are violative of our constitutional provisions regarding equality and protective provisions for women empowerment enshrined under Articles 14 and 15, 1 and 3. This curtails her freedom of movement under Article 19 and violates her right to life and personal liberty guaranteed under Article 21. In August 2010, the National Commission for Women suggested a draft legislation to amend Section 300 of the Indian Penal Code 1860 with a view to include honor killing as a gruesome offence. There have been suggestions from several quarters to add another clause, that is clause 5thly, to already existing 4 in Section 300. This clause 5thly would make CARP-dictated honor killings a distinct offence and make all those who participate in the decision liable to be tried for the main charge, that is murder, and liable for death, which is the highest penalty awardable under our law. However, this argument hasn't found much favor with our lawmakers, who are of the view that the following existing provisions under the Indian Penal Code are sufficient to deal with this crime. Sections 34 and 35 of the Indian Penal Code impose joint liability for crimes committed by several persons in furtherance of common intention. Sections 107 to 116 of the Indian Penal Code penalizes persons for abatement of offences including murders and culpable homicide. Section 120A and 120B of the IPC make criminal conspiracy a punishable crime, and all parties to such criminal conspiracy will be held liable. Section 149 makes every member of unlawful assembly, an unlawful assembly as defined under Section 141. So, Section 149 makes every member of such unlawful assembly guilty of an offence committed in prosecution of the objective of such unlawful assembly. Sections 299, 304 and 308 make culpable homicide and attempt to commit culpable homicide punishable with life imprisonment or imprisonment up to 10 years and fine. Sections 300, 302 and 307 of the IPC make murder and attempt to commit murder punishable with death, life sentence or imprisonment up to 10 years. Sections 503 and 506 of the Indian Penal Code makes criminal intimidation punishable with imprisonment ranging from 2 to 7 years depending upon the level of the threat. There is a need for a special law. This was also reiterated by the Law Commission of India in its report number 242, wherein they recommended legal measures to nip the evil in the bud by preventing assemblies which take place, to condemn such alliances and to prescribe more severe punishment for violent acts of criminal intimidation or acts imperiling the liberty of individual in the name of honor and tradition. Thus, the prohibition of interference with the freedom of matrimonial alliances in the name of honor and tradition Act 2015, Bill number 116 of 2015 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 23rd February 2015 to provide for, in the interest of protecting individual liberty and preventing victimization, prohibition of unlawful assemblies and other conduct interfering with the freedom of matrimonial alliances in the name of honor and tradition, and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Let us look at The salient features of this bill. This law declares that every person shall have a right to marry or stay with a person of his or her choice, and any violation of this right by any person or a group of persons shall be an offence under this Act. Any assembly or congregation condemning any marriage not prohibited by law on the basis that such marriage has dishonored the caste or community tradition or brought disrepute to all or any of the persons forming part of the assembly or the family or the people of the locality concerned shall be treated as unlawful. Any person or member of unlawful assembly who imposes any social or economic sanction or social boycott on the couple or their family or anyone associated with them, or tries to nullify any marriage already solemnized, or declares the couple to pay fine or treat each other as brother or sister shall be punishable under this law. The provisions of this Act shall be in addition to and not in derogation of any other law for the time being in force. Where any person is prosecuted for an offence under this Act, the burden of proving that he has not committed the offence shall be on the person being prosecuted. While delivering the judgment in the case of Bhagwan Das versus State, the Supreme Court placed reliance on circumstantial evidence to convict the accused. The district magistrate or the SDM should take proactive steps and direct appropriate authorities to prevent commission of offences under this law and take steps to ensure protection and safety of the persons concerned. Further, as per this bill, all offences under the law shall be cognizable, non-bailable and non-compoundable. Judiciary has a very important role to play in any state. A fair, transparent and impartial judicial system is the backbone of a democratic country like India. The role of judiciary is extremely significant, as the judiciary not only administers justice according to law, but also promotes social and economic justice through its judgments. More importantly, when new situations arise which are not covered by existing laws, then the judges are required to call for a judicial legislation. Article 141 of the Indian Constitution lays down that the laws declared by Supreme Court shall be binding on all courts within the territory of India. On 3rd October 2016, in the case of Vikas Yadav versus State of UP and others, the judges of Honorable Supreme Court remarked, "One may feel, my honor is my life. But that does not mean sustaining one's honor at the cost of another. Freedom, independence, constitutional identity, individual choice and thought of a woman, be a wife or sister or daughter or mother, cannot be allowed to be curtailed. Definitely not by application of physical force or threat or mental cruelty in the name of his self-assumed honor. That apart, neither the family members nor the members of the collective has any right to assault the boy chosen by the girl. Her individual choice is her self-respect, and creating dent in it is destroying her honor. And to impose so-called brotherly or fatherly honor or class honor by eliminating her choice is a crime of extreme brutality, more so when it is done under a guise. It is a vice, condemnable and deplorable perception of honor, comparable to medieval obsessive assertions. The image flashing on your screens is the image of a young couple known by the name of Manoj and Babli. Manoj and Babli from Karora village in Katha district were brutally murdered by Babli's relatives in June 2007. The cruel act was carried out on the orders of a panchayat for marrying in the same gotra. On 23rd June, two decomposed bodies were found from Barwala branch canal in Hisar. Further investigations led to shocking details. According to reports, the couple was asked to accept each other as brother and sister. They refused and then were forcefully fed pesticides. They were then strangled to death and the bodies were thrown in the canal. As you can see from the map that is displayed, honor killings is not a phenomena which is restricted to third world countries or something that happens only in our country. Honor killings is a worldwide phenomenon. Towards the end of this module, let us think what we can do to prevent honor killings. Firstly, we all need to introspect and change our thought process. Change has to begin with self. We need to shed our ancient thinking and evolve with the times. Parents should be more accepting of their children's wishes regarding marriage. Compelling them to marry against their wishes causes them to be miserable and unhappy in their married lives. We need to educate girls. We need to educate girls in order to empower them. And once they are empowered, we should not feel threatened by their empowerment. It is our responsibility to ensure that we don't restrict their flight. We don't clip their wings. We allow them the liberty to be their self. We allow them to grow. Secondly, we need to have stricter laws to tackle these kinds of killings, as honor killings are nothing but pre-planned murders. Only the state can carry out judicial punishments, never an individual vigilante. In a civilized state, force is only the monopoly of the state, and no individual can ever be allowed to take this law in their own hands. Thank you.